taking us to Funky Town with the intro music there.
I'm waiting for the Mao chicken. Wow,
It's
wow.
Funktown, baby.
I'm working
Watercraft
on that.
Network. It's how we roll. It's Funktown.
Kevin and Jody on their Wednesday night.
Here to have some fun. Hey, thank you. Welcome to all of our new viewers there. Finding us on Roku. Want to introduce you to Watercraft Network. Look at that. Look at that back screen he's got rolling there. That's Bishop, the super producer in the background. We got the intern on the other side of the camera. You may hear us reference them every now and then. And we're Watercraft Network. We're the Watercraft show, and we basically discuss personal watercraft related topics and industry stuff. And we
Have
have
some
a,
people, interesting people on occasionally.
yeah, just a fun show dedicated to personal watercraft and really enhancing the image of the community and the industry itself through education and safety practices. Speaking of which, we are certified state safe boating instructors, and we're just tapped by another law enforcement agency to go up and help them with their safe.
Personal, the PWC portion of the class.
Well, and I haven't subsequently talked to you. This law enforcement agency now wants us to do as much as we can. So if we're able to help them with the entire 8-hour course, they would like our help. So it's nice, to have some watercraft people within the community that are really dedicated to law enforcement and safety enhancement. And that's us. We're what happened?
I don't know.
What did you
We're
pull?
good.
You pulled the plug, Bishop?
Yeah. Yep. On the TV, on our TV.
So
Why?
we can't see it.
You don't need to see it.
Yeah, we do.
No.
You don't want us distracted.
No. Just keep going what you're doing.
Okay,
You guys
so-
are doing a wonderful job.
So what happened for those of you at home? We have a screen, a big screen, like a flat screen TV, where we can look up and see what's on what you're seeing. And Bishop, super producer, just pulled the plug on us. So now we're flying blind.
Yep.
We're like Tom Cruise and Top Gun. Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me. So
Pull back.
watch out for that mountain. So
There we go.
anyway, so we have we have a little bit of bad news tonight.
What are you
Wave
gonna say about Wave Days?
yeah, Wave Days, which again for those of you who aren't familiar with the community or Wave Days is a organized personal watercraft event that takes place
Twice a year.
normally,
Normally twice a year.
normally twice a year in Virginia Beach, and it is what's called a surf event. And it's open to all personal watercraft. So whether you have a stand-up jet ski, without the seat,
Sport boats.
yeah.
Blasters, jet skis.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate that. Or you have, a typical three-seater like you see out on your lake or at your beach house on the ocean. Wave Days is an organized surf event where people come down, people descend upon Virginia Beach twice a year and host, and not host, but
Usually once in April, once in October.
and they participate in an organized surf riding event. And Wave Days always, as Jody said, there's always a spring Wave Days in Virginia Beach and a fall Wave Days. And great events, hosted by the Virginia Beach Wave Junkies. A component of what they bring in for their charity raffles and their entry fees always goes to charity. They do a great job, great ambassadors of the personal watercraft community. Unfortunately, their spring 2021 event has been canceled due to permitting, due to COVID concerns. And,
Actually, it was no more than 10 people at an event.
and
10.
Look,
10.
look,
It's
it's
going
under
to work for Wave Days.
Which is absolutely insane. Since last fall, when they were able to actually hold the event, the COVID numbers were higher than what they are
yeah,
now.
well,
And
all
they
s-
still shut this down.
stuff that's beyond, when a lot of people who don't host events or have not been involved with all of the components behind the scenes in terms of actually producing a organized personal watercraft event. A lot of people don't understand there are so many variables that are involved. And when it comes to a municipality, you got to remember who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a government agency, and they're not effective, they're not efficient, and it's all about them CYA,
Mm-hmm.
covering their own tail.
But you still have a half-mile section of beach.
I'm not
You
disputing
can
that. I'm
more-
just saying.
No, I know, but you have a half-mile section of beach. if I need to stay 6 feet away from you, I can do it.
It's completely doable. Yeah.
As well as 6 feet away from anybody else. And once I'm in the water and I'm outside, doesn't really matter.
I get where you're coming from. I think it's just it's unfortunate that Wave Days, the organizers have been put in that position. As Jody said, you would think we're coming out of the woods, not re-entering the woods. But again, that to me, that's dealing with regional government and municipal agencies and regulating authorities.
They just
Fortunately,
don't get it.
the ones we deal with are extremely unorthodox. They're partners. They want to see events like ours succeed. And Wave Days has always had a great partner in Virginia Beach, but somewhere along the line, somebody doesn't think that it's a good idea, and so unfortunately, the Spring Wave Days is canceled. Yeah, it's a bummer. They're still planning on a fall event though, so we'll bring you more information on that as it develops. But
I think Super Producer found a new
a new
part of
toy
the
to play with.
program.
Yeah, he's got sound effects over there. I can only imagine what we're going to hear throughout the course of the show.
Waiting for the.
He's been playing.
No,
with,
that was not a part of it.
oh,
No.
not you can't hear the toilet flush.
No, I mean we can.
That would be funny.
All right.
So anyway, back to business here. We wanted to again, as we're picking up new viewers and folks who are new to the personal watercraft community and industry. We really wanted to get back to basics and really make sure that we're your go-to in terms of things that are, maybe not common knowledge to the newer riders or folks who aren't as familiar or don't have as much experience within the community. So we really wanted to have a conversation. We were talking off air. Boom. Drum roll, please.
Kinda.
Oh, okay. We were talking off air, and we really wanted to have a conversation because one of the most common questions that we always get is, what jet ski, what PWC should I buy? When we're teaching a safe boater class, one of the most common questions, what should I buy? And it's
I had this conversation last night.
yeah, it's really a loaded question because there is so what are you going to use that machine for? Where are you going to ride? What's
your experience level?
exactly. There's so many things, but what we really wanted to get down to is the Ford, Dodge, and Chevy argument because really there's three major manufacturers of watercraft in Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Bombardier Sea-Doo.
Sink-Doo.
What's that?
Sink-Doo.
Yeah, and we joke a lot about Sea-Doos. We really honestly do, and we have a couple of beautiful Sea-Doos in the fleet. We run the entire gamut. We even have some Polaris watercraft here, which haven't been manufactured in a number of years. And really, what we wanted to do is break it down for you. The new models. Folks are always asking us, "Hey, what's the best machine? What's the most reliable? What's the best value for my buck?"
Well, first off, budget. How much you got to spend?
And that's exactly it.
That's a big starting point.
It really is. And you're not really going to get into a brand new watercraft that is a multiple passenger capacity machine for under $8,000. Most people who aren't real hardcore enthusiasts like us know about the Spark. Most people who are regular, just not personal watercraft enthusiasts, know what a Sea-Doo Spark is. They know it's an entry-level machine. They know you can get one for $5,000-$6,000 brand new. Ideally, they're not a great multiple passenger machine. Get into this with folks all the time.
They're not a big body of water machine.
Exactly. A Spark is really for a small body of water, not a ton of boat traffic.
River traffic.
Exactly.
River use, small lake.
But people love that Spark.
Oh, it's an absolute
It gets you on the
blast to
water.
ride.
Look, it gets you on the water, and that's exactly what we were going to say is, for $5,000-$6,000, you're not sitting on the beach looking out point and going, "Hey, look at that guy having fun on the jet ski." You're on the water.
I loved riding the Spark in the beginning, and then Jody got that Smurf boat, and the whole game changed.
Well, and that's
Comfort,
Completely different hull design,
luxury.
weight, power. There was a whole different
Oh yeah.
class of
Yeah.
boat by going from a Spark to a GTI.
And that's really what we were getting to is, the Spark is really an entry-level machine that's designed for folks that don't want to break the bank and get into the hobby, to the sport, the lifestyle. The upside of the Spark, very reliable,
Mm-hmm.
very reliable machine. That Ace 900 motor,
Older 16s and newer.
great
The
machines,
14s, 15s, and early 16s were problematic with the cranks.
great machines though. Overall,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you'll hear some negative. It's plastic. You'll see some photos online of hulls cracked. That's people taking them out in surf conditions or running them over rocks and stones. But in general, generally speaking, the Spark is a great entry level machine that is really reliable. The downside is, as we said, it's not a rough water machine. If you're going to take it out into the ocean or you're going to take it in on a big lake like where we ride on a very, very large body of water with a lot of boat traffic, the Spark gets slammed around a lot. You get tossed around like a rag doll.
3-4 foot surf, it's a problem.
That's where the bigger machines that you see that are very popular, the Sea-Doos, the Yamahas, the Kawasaki's, the 2 and 3 person capacity machines perform much better in rough water conditions. There's more vessel in the water. The hull is designed to
A little bit
perform.
deeper V.
It's designed to perform in those types of conditions, and they're a much more user-friendly machine in rough water conditions, in really nasty, choppy washing machine type of water. So those are really, the really the basics. You have the entry-level machine, and then just like cars, they upgrade as you go up through the entire series of watercraft with each manufacturer. And what we like to tell folks is, look, you understand what your application is, what you want to do with the machine. Understand, as Jody said, your level of experience, because that plays
Just because you have 16, 17, $18,000 to buy a 70-mile-an-hour jet ski doesn't mean you should buy a 70-mile-an-hour jet ski.
and there are a lot of people that own 70-mile-an-hour jet skis that don't belong on them.
There's a lot of them.
They don't possess the skills to be able to navigate the vessel properly.
All
And
right. Who says that I'm not allowed to buy that?
You're
There's
permitted
nothing
to.
saying.
You're
You know
you're
what I'm
allowed
saying?
to.
But because you have the money to buy it or the credit to buy it, doesn't necessarily mean you should be on that ski. It's no different than Johnny lawyer, dentist, whatever that has
Dennis Tough Nuts.
$60,000, $70,000 to go buy a GTR, a Hellcat, $100,000 to go buy a new Corvette, and within 1,000 miles, the thing's at Copart
Yeah, just
being destroyed. That's what
it,
happens.
it may not be a popular, but that's why the manufacturers make these models, the GTI 155 that you referenced, the Smurf boat.
Yeah, but when you walk into a boat shop, they're not going to be like, "Hey, here's a Spark."
Part of the problem is you're right. The line dealers are
Because I'm
there.
going to look at you and be like, "How much money you got?"
Yeah, it's exactly right. The line
And that's
dealers are
exactly
there.
what happens.
Line dealers want to sell machines. They don't necessarily have the content expertise to ask you what your degree of experience is, what your application is, what are you going to be
It's
doing.
not a matter of content expertise. It's a matter of I have you on the hook to buy a machine.
Well,
And I'm going to take as much. It's no different than walking into a Chevy dealer, and I've driven a Nissan Altima all my life, and now I got a few bucks in my pocket, and my credit is good, so I'm going to go lay $120,000 down on a brand new mid-engine Vet. I have no business being in that car.
I agree with you, but the other point is,
You shouldn't
it's,
even own a bicycle.
I think,
Because we'll try to race it. That's for damn sure.
part of the difference between cars and watercraft too is, a lot of the line deal, not all of them, but a lot of the line dealers really don't have knowledgeable staff. They're not all pure watercraft enthusiasts. They sell motorcycles, ATV. I
They-
mean, so
They have
you're
their
right.
niche.
it's a combination of things. It's a combination of them wanting to sell you the most expensive machine because they
Get a
therefore
commission on it.
make more money, and B, they don't have that degree of expertise to really make you aware of the potential ramifications of having a machine that is 300 horsepower. You don't necessarily have to use it, but it's easy to get into trouble when you have something that does 300 horsepower and you're in rough water conditions and you get a little bit of whiskey throttle and the boat gets out of sorts a bit. When I say whiskey throttle, you apply
Yeah.
throttle when,
Way too much than what you should.
yeah,
do.
or so again, we just want to make sure that folks are aware there is a whole line of machines, much like, it's a great analogy with automobiles. You can get the 4-cylinder, the 6-cylinder, the 8-cylinder, the 12-cylinder, the turbo, the twin turbo. You can get a whole host of different performance packages, and the same thing applies with Watercraft. And we're constantly asked, okay, now that I understand that, which one should I buy? And again, if you're looking at Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Sea-Doo, you're really looking at three quality manufacturers. There's always a little bit of a rivalry between the Yamaha and the Sea-Doo riders because they tend to regularly manufacture the two highest performance vessels on the water.
And try to come up with the most options, the most features. It's who's going to have the better boat.
And so those two tend to be the two top dogs that are always, battling for supremacy in terms of watercraft of the year, which is the best, which is the machine of the year.
Now, I remember specifically we were at an event, okay, and somebody said that they were a jet ski rider, had a rental ski, ran that sucker right up on the beach and let it run.
I remember that guy.
3 of us were running down the beach yelling at him.
In
turn it
ankle
off.
deep water, he starts the machine. Unbelievable. That's one. That's one that I wish we had on video. I really
No.
do. Unbelievable.
It wasn't there rented help on the back of the machine too?
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
it was paid for.
Rented. It was rented, paid for.
Rent to own.
Yes.
One of the two. But so again, when we're talking Yamaha, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo, all three manufacturers make really high quality machines.
Oh, look, hold on. They're all great, and they all suck. You're gonna have lemons. You're gonna have shit product lines. Shit's gonna happen.
I'll
Don't
tell.
complain.
True.
Yeah, it's a great point because Yamaha's honestly had some problems with their nanotechnology
spheling.
hull. Some delamination problems that it seems they may have resolved. Sea-Doo's had a constant problem
Which we joke around with sink dues, the whole 9 yards, and
because of the way
carbon
Well,
seals.
That and they pick some really rough colors.
Yeah, I
Their colors lately have been off.
So-
Just like
I'll leave it as
Just
that.
like our
So,
presidential election.
but from a performance, reliability, sustainability, Sea-Doo has a different style in terms of how their driveline mounts to their pump. Some people would argue that it's not as reliable as the other manufacturers.
And they've been doing it for years.
Yeah. So there's the downside of Sea-Doo, that junction where your drivetrain and your pump meet, and then you have Kawasaki, who's
Been happy at number 3 for decades.
a decade now. Yeah, and that's Jody's famous line: is they're happy with third place. And I'll tell you, if we're going to talk most efficient machine, in my opinion, if you start looking at, I don't want a Spark because I don't want to get bounced around. I want to take the grandkids out or the girlfriend. Okay, so you don't want an entry-level machine, and you don't want the Ferrari, the high end. What's really next? Well, if you look at the most effective and affordable, really 2 to 3 seater entry-level machine, you have to look at the Yamaha EX.
Mhm.
And you have to look at the Cowie,
At
the
the-
STX,
160s.
the 160. They're right in the same price range. And I think, the EX is an amazing platform. That TR1 motor, it's more of a sporty ride. It's more of the Yamaha EX is more of a kind of a playful machine. where it's very nimble, it's lightweight, it's fast. You know what I mean? But I think value, for the average rec rider, I think the STX platform is more suited for the average recreational rider who isn't looking for that sporty, aggressive. You know what I mean? Well, we thank you for that. Thanks to the crowd. We'll be here all week. Uh, don't eat the chicken. But the STX
I thought he
160.
would say, "Don't eat the shrimp."
But the STX 160 platform is really a nice platform. But to your point, Kawasaki really hasn't, outside of their SXR 1500, a few years back, they really haven't done anything since the
don't
late
care.
90s.
They don't need to.
They don't need to. They're not up for all the fancy safety features, the cruise controls, the reverses. They don't care because all of those bells and whistles create warranty claims.
Yeah,
And when you go to a Kawasaki,
they run.
they run and there's hardly any warranties. They're bare bones, basic machines. Get out in the water, get wet, have fun.
Have fun, and that's a great point. And I mean, even the 310, you don't see a lot of the Ultra 310s, at least in this part of the country. We're mainly in Sea-Doo country, which Yamaha is really starting to break into that
Yeah,
market.
and you have Valcor 3 hours away.
Right, right. But even the 310s are fairly reliable machines.
Mhm.
I mean, they're not
For being a supercharged boat.
Yeah, so we always tell people, look, do your homework. Go to dealers and price shop, and be aware of what you're going to buy. You don't need the biggest and baddest personal watercraft, to be the big fish in a small pond because you have the 300 horsepower machine. If you haven't been riding personal watercraft for 20 years and really understand how a machine's going to react in changing water conditions, and you're not really a seasoned rider with a lot of prior motorsports experience from other segments of motorsports that you can apply to personal watercraft, you don't belong on a 300 horsepower boat. It's an
No,
unpopular thing to
one of the
say.
other things is actually go to a place where people are riding. I mean, when we went to Hartwell and we were out on the Belly Buster ride, it, you had all three, big three, and everybody
Oh yeah.
loved the machines that they were on. I mean, you had Kawasaki enthusiasts, and they were happy with being able to pull a handle to use as a brake or as a reverse. Then you had Yamaha and Sea-Doo. Obviously, you got your IBRs and your iRides, and they were happy with that. And there was always that competitiveness between the riders, right? When we were
Yeah.
there,
Usually
know-
it was just Rodney and Scott, the cool
and
guys.
there was the other guy there. It was him and his wife on the
Oh yeah.
STX 15F.
Yeah. I can't remember what his name
Right.
is. We had
But-
a lot of people join us on Sunday.
And there was a mixture of boats, and everybody, they knew their downfalls, they knew their positives, and they didn't care because you know why?
You're out on the water.
Dude,
And that-
we went out and got fuel. We'd go out in the middle, wait for everybody else to get fuel. We just jump off, hang out,
Yeah.
fuel. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Sure.
that rivalry is really internet based. I mean, and it's really on the water. It's more joking, giving somebody a hard time. I mean, when push comes to shove and somebody's boat goes down, there's a mechanical issue, there's something wrong. Everybody always jumps in to help one another out. Personal watercraft operators. I mean, I can tell you from our personal experience with helping recreational boaters on waterways. We were in a situation once where a sailboat was being forced into a bridge because of the way that the winds were blowing, and it was a real novice operator who was unable to get him or herself away from the bridge. And 5 or 6 of us on stand-up personal watercraft jumped in the water, and there was a county sheriff there. We won't mention that, give you any more info than that. The sheriff didn't even want to get involved. It was such a dangerous situation. And we used the nose of our watercraft to push the vessel out so that they could then turn and catch their sails. And I think, most personal watercraft operators are like that. We're able to get into areas that a lot of boats can't get into, very maneuverable and always willing to help other people out. So, typically when we do see a Sea-Doo sinking, it's all hands on deck.
Sure.
I'm just joking about the Sea-Doos.
Hey, well, when we were down in Hartwell, we had 2 incidents.
So the couple, well, the family that
No.
had the one boat, they stole their fuel, they stole the radio, and
Yeah.
something else out of the boat, and they were stranded with no fuel in the middle of Lake Hartwell.
Nobody stopped. But look,
Like 10 jet skis.
oh yeah. And so they gave him, I think it was Scott.
Gave him
They
fuel
gave him
because he had the
fuel.
racks off the back with his fuel. Gave him fuel out of his ski or off his ski so these people could get to
And
the
then it
next
was
marina.
that sailboat out in the middle. Remember when you got fuel? We were all playing in the water. That
It
sailboat
flipped over.
We were over there
Yep.
trying to help him.
Uprighted that thing.
Yeah, as I said, I think you'll find personal watercraft operators to be amongst the most helpful people on the water.
Yeah, they're badass.
What do you got? What do you got?
I don't know, but he's got kittens running around on the background. I'm like, what the hell is that?
The super producer's got multiple windows open. Hey, I don't I don't want to get anybody too excited, but
It was a kitty.
see some really nice footage up there about pro watercross. And for those of you that don't know, to all of those folks who are new to the community and the industry, pro watercross is really the premier uh, sanctioning body
Sanctioning body.
in North America. And what Pro Watercross does is they sanction recreational rides where folks just get together, poker runs, gatherings. They sanction and insure those. Events like Wave Days,
Ooh,
like we talked
hold
about
on.
earlier.
I got one. Kyle says, talk about the new RXP on how it is going to dominate the race.
You know,
I
look,
don't know if it is.
look, Kyle. I think a lot of folks saw Arminio Iantosca last year in Naples, Florida, really do well on that new platform, and I think it depends on a whole host of variables.
One is the guy holding on to the bars.
What operator?
Yeah, if his balls are big enough.
Or girl. I'm sorry, Valentina. I'm sorry, Shelby, Riley.
Yeah,
Oof.
there's a whole host of good female racers. Sophie Francis, from Broward Motorsports.
All right, don't get off the topic.
But I mean, you're talking about a new hull design that looks good. There've been some tests out there by performance enthusiast groups and people that sell parts that want to tell you that this is going to be the best machine. And I can tell you, we've been around closed course for quite a long time. You're not going to know what the best machine is until you see it out there and some of the worst conditions against some
Especially
of the
surf conditions.
against some of the other best riders on the
And
planet.
we'll find out this year because there's with Pro Watercross the series there's a variety of surf events and freshwater events, and you're going to see the difference. I mean,
yeah.
when we were in Naples and they debuted that boat, yeah, it was fast, but you get somebody on it like a McCluggage or
A Baldwin.
or any of those guys,
or a
Yeah,
Troy
they'll-
Schneider, I mean,
Those boys can ride a piece of plywood.
yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is, look, a new boat comes out at 2021, and
Boner.
they've had the opportunity to figure out how to kind of outdo their competition. Well, look, product progression is I mean, that's part of competition. If anyone really believes that Sam Nemi at Broward Motorsports and Baldwin and Dave Bamdis down at Riva and all of these other companies aren't going to elevate the Yamaha platform to be competitive with the 2021 RXPX, you're crazy.
Mhm.
Out of the box again.
They're already doing it.
No question. They've been doing it since Naples. I mean, look,
Yeah.
they all knew, all of the Yamaha riders looked at that RXPX. They saw Arminio Iantosca go out there and kick some tail, and they said, okay, we have our homework
Game
to get
on.
done. Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, you talk about companies like Broward Motorsports where, I mean, they build 50, 60, 80,000, $100,000 choppers in-house, their own CNC stuff. I mean, these guys don't play. They're going to come. They're going to do their same.
And,
Wow.
and Naples, all they had really was a tune, and I think maybe sponsons on that boat when they were racing.
Yeah, and
It was a brand new boat. I mean, you didn't have a lot of R&D time to figure things out. And I think, if I remember right, they were still tweaking on the beach.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, and
Yeah.
that's not taking. Look, that RXPX looks to be a great platform, and people can write reviews and type all of this stuff. Two guys that are self-appointed experts go out and write a review on what they did on a lake. You're not going to know until you get the best of the best, the best riders in North America on those boats, running head to head in some real
Let,
challenging conditions.
let's see what it does in Panama City.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think it's going to do well. I honestly think Sea-Doo did their homework. Yamaha has been and you can't forget though, Sea-Doo has completely pulled out of racing. Sea-Doo and Kawasaki do not support racing whatsoever. People like to make you think that they do, that they support a particular series and events and riders. Yamaha is barely support. They're not seeing the return, any of them, on racing that they want to see.
Well, you know where most people get the joy out of is the old school shit.
Yeah.
Like, I watch a lot of the X2 Facebook pages and stuff.
Yep. Sport boat racing. And that's
Freaking
that's part of the
insane.
problem. The manufacturers see these machines they haven't made in 20 years, large lines. It's not where they want the field to be.
No, but I can buy a $2,000 machine, or I can buy an $18,000 machine. I can buy a lot of these.
Exactly, and that's why there's a place for all of the old machines, and whether it is an old Polaris Octane or a Kawasaki X2 or a Yamaha Wave Blaster or a Sea-Doo HX, like a 650 SX, or even 550s. Look at how popular 550s have become.
Well, you got Pro
You-
Watercraft that are making
Oh,
handling components for all of those older boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15, 20 years ago, you could have bought a 550 for $500
Or
You
less.
You see a real clean one now. People want
2,500.
Yeah,
$3
2
grand.
grand, 25. It's crazy. So again, we're live every Wednesday. We have some great shows coming up. We're really getting back to the basics and the fundamentals. For those new folks that are tuning in and really want to understand the community and the industry, and we're going to try and help guide you along those processes and
You
just
know what I was thinking? Maybe we'll jump in every now and then and do a periodic live sitting here again. It's only 30 minutes.
yeah. Hey,
Send it. We got so many topics that we could talk about.
we could just
Or
keep,
if you got something that you want us to talk about,
Shit.
let us
You
know.
want to come on the show
Yeah.
and talk about it? It's a lot easier to type it.
I know next week we got a guest. The week after we got a guest, and then we can go back to raw conversation.
Let's do it. I think it'd be a good idea.
we get a hold of us on Facebook. We're really not our grammar game isn't all that strong. You can find us on Facebook. Shoot us a message, and we'll get back to you. Any topics or your business owner you want to discuss your product line or promote something, shoot us a message. We'll get you on. And other than that, we're at about. I think I hear somebody singing. I don't want to be politically incorrect.
It's
But
a
she
fat
looks-
lady.
She
you
looks
say?
voluptuous.
It's a fat lady.
So Are
Okay.
we going to have to end the show or something?
I think so.
I don't know. Think fans
Oh, they're already upset. Look, we're
like,
sorry.
pissed off.
I mean, hey,
That-
we're going to
that's
be
gotta
live.
the-
Listen, we're
the
gonna-
stalkers for you.
we're gonna be live Friday. We got a debut to do, and we're gonna be live Sunday out in the shop doing some work.
Ugh.
Yeah, we got a special live coming up on Friday night.
Little special debut going out. A
Not
little bit of
little.
love to one of our.
Badass. We got
What's-
shit going on.
Yeah, we got. I mean, there's a lot going on. We got a build going on for Daytona, the Daytona Conversion Hurricane. We're really excited about that. Daytona Free Ride, those of you that don't know, the largest personal watercraft event in North America. We'll talk more about that in weeks to come.
Got a sport boat coming up that we got to get built for racing.
And we also
We
have
got- Your conversion.
got the conversion cane that we're working on. And we also
we're the only fools that got 4 canes in a garage.
4 Polaris Hurricanes sitting
I
in
just
one
happen
location.
to own the garage.
Listen,
No.
I think we got the
And they're just being stored there.
I think we got the Hayes brothers beat by owning more Hurricanes than anyone in North America. And listen, we'll also talk in weeks to come about Jet Fest. Jet Fest, the only event in North America raffling off an automobile. For years, Jet Fest has raffled off 19 watercraft over 13 years, and
Mixing it up.
all kinds of stuff.
now that that's become common within other events, where totally switching just a 180, raffling off a vehicle. We'll let you know how to purchase tickets for that. You may be able to win a truck just for watching Watercraft Network. So we're back next Wednesday.
You
Catch
learned
us.
how to throw a curveball finally.
Yeah, well, I'm a lefty. I'm dangerous with the wiffle ball. I'm telling you, I can make that wiffle ball break. Give me a baseball, and it's not all that good.
You look good in a wig too, but
Hey, listen. At least I don't, sashay around town in a sundress like you there, Bishop. So, listen,
We'll see you next week before this gets any worse.
we're back Friday.